Good afternoon, good afternoon. It's me, Maurice, again, down here at the NoMa Encampments with Serve Your City and Ward 6 Mutual Aid, passing out toiletries, hygiene products, food, snacks, masks, hand sanitizer, clothes, socks, water, whatever we can get our hands onto. You know, we're going to give it away to the people down who live here, our unhoused neighbors who live here down in the tent encampments. And it's the coldest day, at least in the last 8 months, in the 40s today. And I guess that is what we can expect for the next couple of months. It's going to get colder and colder, and things are going to get more challenging down here at the tent encampments as the weather changes on us and we go into the winter months. And so it's probably more important than ever for us to stay connected and for us to come together to support one another, because so many people on so many different levels will face some real challenges in the next couple of months. And unfortunately, no matter who is elected, no matter who comes into office, there will be people who are going to struggle. And I'm talking about life and death struggles. And that's certainly facing some of our unhoused neighbors here down in the tent encampments in NoMa. But, you know, we're going to keep coming out here every Sunday. We're here in NoMa. But now we're going out on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays to different areas throughout the city where we have a growing tent encampment communities and neighborhoods, as more and more people find the streets to be their only option. And, you know, unfortunately, we're going to have to provide more and more support to so many people. I wanted you guys to take a look at it, you know, and see kind of what we're facing, because we did a count, and we can see that more and more tents are down here at 2nd and M, 2nd and L, 2nd and L, and then we'll see what's going on at 2nd and M. But this is part of the largest tent encampment that we have here in the city in Washington, D.C., and to see that we have even more tents is definitely disturbing. But I want you to take a look at it. And this is us, you know, giving out the items that we give out to folks, all the goods and items that we have. But you can see it's getting very crowded down here because more and more people live down here. More and more people need support and shelter down here. But we got some folks who got a beautiful setup, and they're doing the best that they can to make this a homely place, a place that feels comfortable and as secure as possible. But it's getting tight, definitely tighter down here than what it was a couple of months ago. You know, this tent encampment has covering, you know, constructed covering with the railroad running on top for the metro and for the train. And so this is somewhat good shelter, you know, as best as it can be, you know, if you have to live in a tent outside. There are other tent encampments that don't have this type of covering, and so they're truly exposed to all of the elements. But this tent encampment, you know, thank God, has some covering, because it is the most, you know, congregated spot of tent encampments that we have right now in the city. But they're being challenged, unfortunately, in other areas because we're having more and more people who live out in the tents, in different tent encampments, our unhoused neighbors. And so I just wanted y'all to see what's going on down here, because it is an increase, and we have to stay connected, because the winter poses so many more challenges for so many people. And then we have to contend with the end of the rent moratorium. And there's been no announcements from our political leadership, our local political leadership, about what the plan is when the rent moratorium ends. And even though we have a rent moratorium officially, a de jure policy moratorium, that doesn't mean that people are not being kicked out by landlords, property owners who are not abiding by the law, by the policy. And for many reasons, people don't fight those landlords because of different arrangements that folks have when it comes to living in someone else's property, in someone else's space, so-called someone else's space. So we do see many people, that's why we're seeing a growth in the encampment communities, because people who've been living insecurely in kind of extra legal situations are finding themselves out in the street because landlords are kicking people out, given the desperation of other folks who'd be willing to live in any conditions and can afford to pay something. And so that's what's going on here down on the streets in the tent encampments. Yeah, that's what's going on down here. Yeah, so we're just gonna keep moving. We need your support. ServeYourCityDC.org. Ward 6 Mutual Aid. Ward 6, biggest ward of the city, most populous ward in the city. And we have a lot of people that we work to support and work to help as best we can. We work to serve. So I hope everybody had a decent weekend, a good weekend. God bless all of you. And we'll see you next week.